past our grave that identified him was involved in MK Ultra. This was a Komunala man. Okay, so he was coming from that direction as I was coming this way, and right here I came, now a little bit before this, just about the grave, and just as he promised he would do during MK Ultra. They prepared for the father for the cremation, and the police incited in getting rid of my father. The investigators insisted and insisted and insisted that I need to get rid of the father, that they will help us. They made an arrangement to get rid of the father, that life will be much faster without a father. This was MK Ultra procedure that they spoke to me even in front of the Hofer store in Novo Mesto, that is in Bršlin. Even in front of the Hofer store they spoke to me about these things. Let me demonstrate you something else here also. Like I said, today is a funeral, and I promised myself that if they did kill my father for real, no, I don't believe that my father is dead, but if they did kill my father, they're all dead without a single exception. That's one thing. The second thing is, maybe we can talk, maybe we can make some changes if he's still alive. But if they killed him, the way they did this stuff is horrendous. It is just as simple as this. Before I came here to the funeral of my father, I had to choose the shirt. Not the but these are brand new sweaters, completely new. Probably I still have stickers on some of them. I'm maybe wearing the second time this one, and they sold them for just €5, very, very cheap, for free. In the store where police would take me, psychiatrists, cops would take me most often, is the store where mother is buying her clothing the most. And they had a sale. They had a sale about a month ago, month and a half ago, 2 months ago, that they were giving shirts for like just €1, that we had this kind of stuff going on, and €50 like this, very cheap cotton shirts. And I had to be really selective about it today, because on one shirt it says right there, it says life faster, much faster in that sense. Yeah, tisto je žara, tisto ni oče, tisto je žara. Yeah, razumem. So my mom is here, and I will continue with this later at home. So let's go, and we're going to do some more. One man identified, the man from Komunala is identified, so that's a good thing. I don't see because it's sunny. I have to adjust myself a screen so that I can see better. But this is how they prepared. So this man did exactly as he promised me he would do. It was a nice guy from Komunala, and really he met me based on MK Ultra procedure. He was dressed up in black. And that was it. So, I know. This is where the police had me already before rehearsing the funeral of the father. They did this on 2 occasions, and they tortured me tremendously. With people that would come to, I don't know how you say that, say their last goodbye, that harassed and all kinds of stuff. I wonder if it was even for a real funeral. Uh-huh. This picture here, the picture that you see here, my father stated it's going to be a picture like this to remind of the Slobodan Milošević if I will turn against him and label one as... Ja. Ja, kad te motim, tako te motim, res? Tega pa nisem vedel jaz. Jaz pa govorim. Tu je moj oče. Pa če te motim, pa pejdi ven. Pa sem jaz z njim lahko. Sam.
Ampak bodi tiho. Ni treba tle, prosim.
This is a totally Slovenian police psychiatric procedure all the way. All the way. This is going to be interesting to see what is happening here. Mama, kaj bom pa gledal na Britafu? This picture is imitation of the Slobodan Milošević, but I want my father back. I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. They had me in here. This is one of the rooms. The investigators told me, when you are here, if you're not going to recall, blah, 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 you will recall. This did not happen on 2 occasions. They had me on a multitude of occasions here. Milan Kučan was with me here. Every nun, every priest in Novo Mesto city knew me, and there was none that would come to help me out. Before the Slovenian independence, which was in 91, we're talking about 1988, when I was tortured here, I actually am appalled, because I thought that people at the graveyards, at least, they know how to behave, and this is just fucking incredible, man. This goes to year 1988, and in 1988 they did some kind of work. This is much older than 1988, but there was some kind of construction they did in 1988. That was 3 years before the Slovenian independence. That's how far I got. It's possible that it's further. And there were neighbors that were coming here. Actually, and I'm not sure about it, because it could be they have used another location. They did use other locations too. But the neighbors came to see me, literally. Me and Milan Kučan, there is neighbors that saw Milan Kučan. There is neighbors that they saw all this thing. But Milan Kučan inside in here with police that tortured me. Police was always using a private citizens to do the stuff. The only thing they would do is they would be in a vicinity, you know, and investigators, when they don't wear their official uniform, police uniform. This stuff all went undercover. And I had to be really careful about this one here, because they had another location, and I don't really know what the deal was, but something happened here in 1988. I never was here in this place ever in my lifetime, ever. The last person who was buried was my grandfather, in 1975 or something like that. Basically, in 1974, not much after I was born. And father used his example with police to brainwash me that it's normal to not remember, that it's normal not to remember. Maybe he wanted to remind me of it, of the grandpa, and start with that. And I was just so traumatized that I wouldn't even give a chance to it. Yeah, that's what he probably tried to do. But the thing is that it's not about what you remember, but it's about the ability of the free speech. It's about the ability, the right to tell people. And in Yugoslavia, if you would tell people, just as in Slovenia, what Janez Janša made out of Slovenia, you go into the psychiatric hospital if you start talking about the stuff like this. So that didn't make any sense. Father was killed, just as I was promised by the police, since the beginning, because before this case could come out, surface, father had to be killed, literally. This is the way they did. This is the way they did this stuff. And for the mother, police insisted she is good. She's in a good health, a better health, which is totally not true, because father was destroyed by the police. She will continue to live on. And I will never forget my father when he stated that he will have to go in 2017, that he will have to die, that they made an agreement pointing at me and my mom with the police that he will have to die, which is totally not true. Totally not true. Totally, totally, totally not true. The mistake I have made is the one that I did not think about these things. I did not think about, with the 4 hours of sleep, with under circumstances I was in, I didn't think about the mom, what's going to happen next with the mom, until my father supposedly was dead. And then I started to recall how they were taking me to Ljubljana and how they had her inside of the prison facility, and that I had to keep coming back over there and beg and so on and argue and beg. They traumatized me literally with imprisonment of my mother during MK Ultra, which is worse than if something like this would have happened to you in a real time. So they were using all kinds of stress methods to get me killed. They were stressing me out completely. This is the advantage of MK Ultra they can do to you. This here, 1988, but I really don't know what happened here. I yet have to think about. I have to see this thing. Is it 1988 for sure, but it's possible even 1984. If it was not another location, 1984 would be my 6th grade. It's also possible that they had me here in 1982. If this place was built already in 1982, 100% they had me here in 1982. And that means I was just in a 4th grade of the grammar school where I was tortured by the Milan Kučan here. That's basically how early, that's how bad. And then in a 5th grade and in a 6th grade. And I'm pretty sure that this place was here. I'm pretty sure that this place was actually here. And they tried to confuse me. The place did not even exist until 1988. That this portion of it that was built in 1988. And that just doesn't make any sense to me. Because let me think about the view here out. Let me just think about the view here. What makes it very different is that everything, the grass is cut. And therefore it makes very, very, very different for me. very, very different experience. They told me that this is being built in 1988, but I believe that they had me here already in 1982 when I was just in a fourth grade of the grammar school. They had police investigators from Novo Mesto police station. The people from here, from the area, when police would throw me here, and they would have people that are most likely still alive that would come here, and they would give a testimony to the police that they saw me here. I think that with the Milan Kučan. It could be that Milan Kučan is going to go to the jail. I started to think about this now. Because why would you gather the statements, record statements like this, if not? And if they were not afraid of this stuff, why the hell they were doing this stuff? Why were they doing this kind of stuff? If, in one way they were collecting the statements from people like this. This is Janes Janša, right? And on the other hand, they were using me for the stuff like this to go on. So, this is just extortion type of stuff, blackmailing, which some suggested is characteristic for Janes Janša. So I have a better version of why they were doing this. One location they had me was near Ljubljana somewhere, that's for sure. One location was definitely near Ljubljana. They had me, that I know for sure, and there might be even the third location, because the third location, there was a room like this, was the location that was there was no houses, no nothing. Well, there was houses, but very, very few, and there were hills around and stuff like this. Just the room like this one, like copy-paste room of this. This is basically done in such a way that the same people that were coming here for torture, humiliation, practically spitting in my face, used by the police, are now coming to handshake. And so it's not polite not to handshake. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the location. We're gonna go around a little bit. This is so indecent stuff. Such indecent stuff. It's just not good. It's not okay. No, this was not the worst. This was just not the worst. I'm not gonna say a couple, because it's a neighbor, and a girl that also was involved. They were not the worst, but I can already see what is coming next. I mean, that's gonna be right now. I had a cousin who came from Bela Krajina. He's a good guy who came. He didn't give me condolences or anything. He left. I wasn't there either. I wasn't present, but what's gonna follow is gonna be a bunch of shit that's gonna come here, and I know this. And I just like to deal with these people in a different way. This was such a bestial thing that was done to me here over and over. And right now, so far, there were only the people that liked me who came here, supposedly during MK Ultra. But there was a bunch of such a garbage that they were using, and I know they're gonna come. The police was using such a people that police actually told me to put the camera and video record people. And the fact of the matter is that this is just something I cannot do. Psychiatrist cops figure out that I would be recording people, that I would be recording cars and stuff like that, and the police would be going over these recordings, and the emotions are running high here. They're running high, but the stuff that I record is the stuff that is beyond disgusting. But I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I wouldn't be doing what police proposed me. They proposed me to put the camera between the graves. Janez Ogulin did, investigators did. They brought me to the graveyard and they study and they told me where to put the camera to make a setup and video record people, that kind of stuff. That would be fantastic. Maybe if I had more money, that I could afford myself some kit like this, something like that, that would not be visible, I would have done that. But honestly, I am not going to do this stuff. They even suggested me to put the camera inside of the, this is how it all started, that I should put the camera inside of the, where the father is, cremation is, where people come to pay respect. That's what Janez Ogulin, investigators, police insisted me. This video is going to the internet and you're not going to like it. And there is a lot more I have to tell about what went on with Novo Mesto police. This murder, because this is how I consider this, I evidence this under the murder case. I don't believe that my father is dead. I do not believe this. Absolutely do not believe this because of multitude of things that happen. I'm going to put that stuff on the internet. Yes. This murder of my father basically completely arranged, including his picture, based on brainwash. If you're going to accuse me of something to do with Yugoslav and this and that, father completely rejected this. Then it's going to be a picture of the Milosevic. And this was the thing that was the last one pertaining to his death. Father was involved in this brainwash pertaining to the funeral with the police. Is not his fault. It's really not his fault. These beasts, this police, this Novo Mesto police, they do with the people like this. And this is an older man that was just, this is what was his, life. I'm not going to say entertainment, fishing, gardening and shit. He worked, played with the trees, did stuff. A lot of work he did. But the thing is that it's easy to do this with the older people. It's not my fault that I was in this situation. It's just pushed into unemployment like this is just nothing you can do about. And it's incredible stuff. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. And let me make myself clear about my niece. She was here when I came here. She participated in a torture. She participated in a police torture right at this place here. And it's not because she was here that I would see whatever, but she participated in the torture. My niece was involved in this room here that you see in a torture, many sessions. As for my sister Biserka Avsec, she would only come here to this location here to check, to see what's going on, maybe twice a day. They would have me closed here for entire day long, and the next day again entire day long, basically. This is the way they were doing. Janez Ogulin is the man who ran this crime. Urška, Golob, Weber, my niece, who was here, wanted to absolutely kill me once Milan Kučan got me into the psychiatric hospital, Ljubljana Polje, in 2012 and 2015. This was the place here, right here, this thing here. She was motivated in getting me completely destroyed. As for my sister, she would be just coming in a very relaxed mode here, maybe twice a day. That's all there is to it. Bestial stuff. My sister supposedly is dead. And we'll see about this stuff. In respect to the man, the latest man who was here, I don't know, and I don't recall his last name that I spoke about. Good-looking guy. I don't know, some kind of a Slavljevich or something like this. I don't know. He was heavily involved in MK Ultra, and he was a nice person. He was a very, very nice person until they told him something, until they started to brainwash him. This is actually, from what I recall, man with a magister, like a doctor, something like this. He has a university finished, this man that came by, and he knew my father. He didn't say any about that. He said that he studied chemistry. Yes, chemistry, but he's a magister or something like this. He's got a university degree, whatever. He was a supervisor, from what I recall, and a very, very, very nice guy. And he worked at Kirka Pharmaceutical till the police started to make problems, and then he was used by the police to do the stuff. Complete nonsense. What happened, you know how it all ended up with these animals from Novo Mesto police station, investigator who met me in 2022, an investigator who met me at Brusnica and so on. They gestured me that when he comes to pay respect here to the father, if I will not salute him, that it will be nothing with my case. And that's because once he started to make me problems, I labeled one as non-Slovenian. With the people that give me a trouble, I found the way to memorize about who they are. I was extremely resentful. Sometimes it was enough that you look at me in a wrong way, and I didn't care who you were. It was enough. That's it. Or the circumstances I was in, if I didn't get enough sleep, if I was totally sleep deprived and brought to somebody that might have been otherwise nice. Clearly, if you don't get enough sleep, that you're brought to somebody that is, in a parenthesis, nice, you know it's a torture, it's a killing, it's not even a torture, because you need sleep. And I didn't feel like I want to be nice to these people. I want to go to the bed. I want to get sleep, not being nice. This is how Milan Kučan, Slovenian police, justified violence. This is simple method, the way they use it. Total sleep deprivation, bringing it to the people, maybe even who they were nice, and you didn't want to be nice when you need a bed to save your life, basically. That's how they justified the violence. Then they got the reasons, and then they torture and stuff like this. But with this guy, they told me, if you will not say hello to him and this and that and so on, he's got a same haircut like a Shani Mitrovic. If you will not do this and so on, then we will not help you. You see, after this funeral, they're going to see help you. But this is the way they did this stuff. So they literally extorted. They have cameras. They record this stuff. You see, I don't have to record any of it. I just saw the guy who comes to cut the garden. I saw a neighbor across the street, Kolens and Slavka and Udoch and so on. They all came, and I just walked past. The police was using a torture at this place simply to push forward people who did the biggest damage. Plain and simple. They had a bunch of nasty people, and yeah, that's very, very tricky. They had a bunch of, there is people who did the crime before, and there is people who did the crime after. And so the people who did the crime before were glorified by the people who might not even come to the funeral. This is just the way it is. These people right now, the neighbors and stuff, when they will be coming here to see how they torture me on the on this graveyard in Shmichel. They behaved extremely nice, my neighbors, but they were the main engine behind the police crime against me, directly connected with the psychiatrist from Ljubljana Poli through the courts, giving the statements about me and so on. So, to put it plain and simple, giving a full support. Nobody knew me. Nobody. They saw what went on in our house, everything, and also even here at the graveyard. They brought them during the torture here in this graveyard. They brought them here with the goal to make them look good. The torture here at this place was bestial. This was a bestial location for torture. This is a bestial torture location. This is a very bad place to be. To be tortured here was extremely bad. I was going to place the backpack here, and I did shortly, and then I record the words of the police investigator who told me they're going to steal the backpack if you're going to leave one here. Not very likely, but just to drive you crazy. Just to drive on crazy. They were, oh yeah, they had me wear backpack, carry the backpack very often, I should say all the time, till the spine was irreversibly damaged. It's all kinds of stuff they were doing. I mean, the police, there is something that you can step over there, and it does the sound, babam. Instructed me during MK Ultra. They had people instructed me during MK Ultra. If the people stay too long, the only thing you do is you step on that thing, daram, and people walk out. That they deliberately did this shit. This literally what the police, the instructions. I already audio recorded this stuff. I might record this later on, but this is all criminal evidence. This shit they came up with, I think the year was like 2010, 2009. So I was not tortured twice. I was tortured here on multitude occasions, not twice. And even by the closest relatives, such as was a daughter from my sister, Urška Golob Veber. Milan Kučan, I will never forget, he stated to my niece, he said to her like this, he said, well, I got him inside of the psychiatric home. Now either you're going to use it or you're going to lose it. He came in our house with the robber Golob, and with the robber Golob incited my niece, my sister, whether to use it or they're going to lose it, pointing at the property, at the house of my mom. This is the way this stuff was. So I already gained a lot of information here today based on this thing here. It's already something, a lot that I learned about just by being here, about the stuff that went on.
Sam sercisze swoje I najdraži si mu ti. Pojem oči zajoka I šija straša nas. Al Boži skor omlad. Al Boži skoraj zelena omlad. Al Boži skoraj zelena omlad. Omlad ži prišla bo. Cvitjem me posipala, djav sam da sam u raju. Veje rastezovala, k nibu je visoko, meni pa je do srca sigala glavo. Savoj, draga ljubica, vično ne boš spala. Nova pomla zelena, novu cvit pognala.
This, I literally had a niece talking about who's gonna pay for my grave. They said, this is where you're going. And niece complained about how she's gonna have to pay for the grave during MK Ultra with her husband, who suggested me that he's gonna have all paid off, that's gonna be okay. Zdenko, hvala, ker si se oglasil. We had this kind of stuff going on. That's the stuff that we had going on. Her husband, Mitja Weber, gestured, it's all gonna pay it off. I was reminded of the problems they created in the heart. There is heart problems they talked about that they developed through MK Ultra, through exhaustion, basically. Valves, as well as they said that it's going to be a peacemaker that's going to be necessary, that kind of stuff. And later, Robert Golob figured out, sometimes in 2013, when they threw me into the psychiatric hospital, he stated that's not going to be necessary, we already arranged that. This is how much Milan Kučan, my niece Urška Golob Weber, is, and her husband. That's how much Golob, Robert Golob, Milan Kučan went on hand to these people. They figure out they're not going to be, is something they already have talked about in 2006, 2007, and 2008. Sometimes in 2010 they stated that stuff we already have fixed that stuff. So in 2009, 2010 I already have critical heart problems. Critical enough that when they threw me into psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje in 2012, it's just a miracle that I was not killed inside of that psychiatric hospital, that I actually survived that shit. But as far as my heart, I was even taught by a girl from the US. I'm not gonna say her name, but she told me that this is Asiatic heart failure, like angina, due to overexhaustion. That's exactly the stuff I was talking about all the time they were doing with me. There is absolutely no doubt that when it comes to family, This is just exactly what I described on the blog. These are beasts. This is completely inhumane, totally. I ended up exactly in a portion of the graveyard. Stuff that you have seen right there that have taken place is the stuff we already have going on during MK Ultra. That means they rehearsed the funeral, the future funeral, and I ended up exactly in a portion of the graveyard with the German writing right there, as you see it. And this is where it's good that we ended up right here. That's very good. This is where Igor Juršić, Janez Ogulin, they all went completely insane. I'm talking about the trash from Novo Mesto police station. This is going to be interesting stuff because this stuff will come out. This stuff will live on. I don't know if I'm going to survive this stuff. I got another 4 hours of sleep. This is what I get on a regular basis. But the whole crime is being revealed about what went on. Father was used as a disturbing news to disturb, disrupt, and get me killed. That's what he was used for. And he was used to do this stuff by the people who he imitated literally. Because this is the stuff you don't do. He even stated, husband of my niece, she was laughing when she was standing next to our car where she opened the trunk. He stated, put it in the Boštjan car, exactly copy-paste based on MK Ultra. What they did was they threw something over the grave and they imitated exactly the stuff that took place today. Yeah, that's exactly what I was told the case is going to be. It's for the car, park the car on the side of the road in front of the graveyard. It was husband of my niece, Mitja Weber, who stated me, you parked the car on the sun. That much about the rehearsal of the funeral that took place today. They might have rehearsed this funeral twice. This funeral that took place today. Just yesterday it was when I was, yesterday, was it yesterday? Or I'm not sure, might have been yesterday. I am thinking about completely other issues right now, concentrating on other stuff. When I was in the store, it's called Mana Store. And I chose the jacket for my mother's funeral, literally. She did not wear one. The jacket that I chose for the mother's funeral was involved in MK Ultra, exactly the type of jacket. And the same lady that was making a sale of this jacket, it's all audio recorded. Sometimes I estimate, let's say, I did not thought about when exactly was it, but I said to her 2015. I said, did you work in 2015 at this place? And she said, I'm working here already 20 years. Was trying to convince me. Actually, we argued about the size of the jacket, about what size of the jacket would be the best size of the jacket for my mom, probably 2014. And before I left, I asked her, do you think this is going to be enough for the psychiatric diagnosis Ljubljana Polje. I reminded her of the psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, police. This was a store where all these jackets, shirts were purchased. All through entire city was involved in it. This is the store where my mother was purchasing the stuff for her. So now what happens is they were soliciting through the Illuminatis that were coming inside of our house products they would sell in the future, whether those products might have been already manufactured. This product, this one here, this goes to year 2011. It doesn't go to 2015. Mother's jacket go to 2015. Why am I saying this? I am saying this because Janez Ogulin, inside of the room where I am in, together with Igor Juršić, the police that barricaded themselves here inside of our house during MK Ultra procedures, background talk, brainwash basically, told me, you're going to have to be careful what kind of shirt you're going to put it on sometimes in 2008. And it took them 3 years to get this made, for which I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to demonstrate you a jacket, which I was going to pick up. It's also black that I purchased. I purchased all this at once. And when I was going to purchase this stuff, it became evident to me. I was going to wear one of those jackets. It's also black color. It became evident to me that this stuff was actually involved in MK Ultra. Not the jacket that I had today. I don't remember, at least I don't remember the jacket that was involved in this thing today. But the conversation between the Janez Ogulin, myself, and Juršić for 3 years, and then sometimes in 2011, I remember them saying, you got a jacket, let's go see it, and it was a police officer, and they started to study these jackets. There is just one girl in the US that has answers to all these questions. Actually, maybe too many questions. Maybe a portion of it I should just leave out. But they literally instructed me. They said, make sure about which jacket you're going to pick. They made a selection of the shirts and stuff. They made a selection of the shirts, jackets, everything based on financial income this year, which was 0, as you know. I think that I was the most disadvantaged person throughout the entire history of the European Union, financially looking. That's long enough when you take European Union in consideration with, I don't know, Poland and Slovenia joining, I think, finally in 2004 or something like that. Then you come to conclusion, you can see that of all these Eastern European countries, even where in some there was poverty, I claimed that I made less money, I earned less money, less income than any other person. When it comes to Slovenia in total, I mean, it doesn't even make sense to talk about this stuff. Impossible, literally. Completely impossible. And so this is how the police was making choices. It's like a Walt Disney on open of the complete lunacy based on psychiatrists and police. Before, the parking lot where I parked, husband of my niece stated, you're going to park here, your car is going to be hot. And so when I came, there was no car in exactly that area. So I parked exactly that. And he said, I will be parking, you should be parking here. And he spoke to the police and said, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take this parking lot right here behind your car. And that was the shadow of the trees that cover his car. This is basically the way it was. Before we left, husband of my niece stated, therefore, the same person that went on to kill me once they threw me into psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana Polje, she went on everything or nothing. He stated me, you're going to put these candles and stuff inside of the Boštjan is car. My name is Boštjan, Bastian Boštjan. What he said, what he meant by this, based on MK Ultra scenario, brainwash, he interpreted this as, therefore, her husband, Mitja, Weber. He interpreted, the state gave him an excellent job to demonstrate him as a social, outgoing, and normal person, as a professor, as a teacher in the school, high school where I used to study here in Novo Mesto. And he's got 2 children, and he looks very normal, just like my niece. He interpreted this news as I leave you the car. I leave you the car, and that's about the only thing you get. This is the way it was. Absolutely, the whole video is going to the internet. It is excellent video. It's a beautiful, beautiful reminder and explanation about the stuff that went on. So, very sarcastic. And when he said this to put in the Boštjani's car, my niece was making a like this face right there in front of me. This is pretty much about these German graves. This was like totally, I was completely disadvised to film German graves. Everything you want except the German graves. Uršič, Ogulin, I got a total ABC, total brainwash. Like the most terrified were that I would, these are not even German graves. They are, some are German and some are in German language, because Slovenia used to be part of the Austria. Holy German Empire for like 1,500 years. And I'm not ashamed of it. I like that part. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of any part of me. I'm not ashamed of anything, of any past, of absolutely anything. It is the people that hate this so much. What can we do about this stuff? I told you all about this funeral. Was long time ago, sometimes in 2000 and probably 13 or 14, I even mentioned all about the torture on the graveyard, the way what the fuck went on in the graveyard. They were gonna fucking kill me on a graveyard when I was in a grammar school. The torture in a graveyard, in this graveyard, started already way before. Probably it was 1988. This location that they started to torture me because they said something that the portion of the building where I was in did not even exist back then yet. That's what they warned me about. And I know there were 2 other locations that Milan Kučan was using for a torture. Of one location did not have houses really, and there was another location that have a very similar also. It was a room, and view was very similar to, it was more than that. It was also one house and stuff like this, because it was people that saw me, and I actually interacted with the local people from there. That kind of a stuff went on. But when it comes to this portion of the building where I was today at, it's like this. They had people coming from the neighboring houses, sometimes from the neighboring houses, to see me, to participate in torture. Yes, they had people from this place here in Novo Mesto, from the neighboring homes, coming to participate in torture. It was like this. And on top of that stuff, they would have afterwards the police that would be coming with placing me in this building, and they would have people from this area coming to claim right in front of me that they saw Milan Kučan torturing me when I was a child in that building right there. So I was warned during MKOchu that that portion of the building did not even exist until 1990, something like this. A room where you are thrown, it's a bit hard thing to do, to see, to know. The torture for which I studied started in the 4th grade of the grammar school in 1982, commenced already in the 2nd grade of the grammar school 78, 1980, 1979, Milan Kučan already commenced exactly this in a room that looked like that, the torture. So they knew what the room is going to look like in the future in case this room did not exist. But when it comes to the torture, on the graveyard, the torture in the graveyard, this goes to grammar school, it goes literally to degree of torture in the grammar school, for which they told me that I have to climb inside of the casket. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, there is nothing else I can say. It is what it is. It's not worth it to discuss these issues. It's a difficult case against the magnitude of the people, degree of the criminality, and I should say number of the people, degree of the criminality, and, well, the system, which Mr. Janez Janša did all he possibly could to deny by posing himself as a victim. As a politician as he was, he got himself involved in a corruption, in all kinds of stuff, and did absolutely everything possible that my case would not be visible. Basically, his job was to intervene, not only his, but also Boucher, who was imprisoned also on criminal charges, corruption, stealing money, and they were literally impeaching themselves voluntarily. Zoran Thaler, for instance, did the interview to the British that he is willing to accept the corruption and stuff like that, with basically letting me know in advance that he will do the stuff like this. They were searching for the reasons literally to betray after the so-called Slovenia became independent, and made sure that Milan Kučan will become appointed as the first president of the Slovenian state, which is quite very much in contrast with Milan Kučan was a boss of the Communist Party. And this is not against the communism, but he was a boss of the Communist Party of Yugoslavia. And the Communist Party of Yugoslavia was ran by the Greater Serbian Chetnik state, basically by the Belgrade, through what used to be Josip Broz Tito, then even what became Slobodan Milošević. So they made sure that the man who was Josip Broz Tito in Slovenia, yes, Milan Kučan was a Josip Broz Tito here in Slovenia. I will never forget him in 1988 when he entered the front lobby area of the police station in Novo Mesto, where I would now come and report myself, together with the Serbs, and demanded the cameras, literally the cameras, video cameras, to be placed inside of the room where the police officers serve public, where they sit like a receptionist or front lobby desk, front desk, I should say. That's how you would say that, at the main lobby area as you enter, which is dedicated to the public. That was Milan Kučan with the Serbs. Before Milan Kučan even got there, I was there with the Serbs. And in 1988, the second person I came up in a police station to do exactly this kind of stuff was a Milan Kučan. And things went dire wrong, because of what became Slovenian independence. As a police officer in Yugoslavia, you were absolutely nobody and nothing. You were just wearing a uniform, and somebody like a Milan Kučan was literally God. You were not his worker, you were not his employee. You were exactly like his vassal. You were actually like his henchman, UDBA, KGB, basically. That's it. You could not work as a police officer if you did not belong to the Communist Party of Yugoslavia. That's how the Serbs identified themselves. Nothing against the communism, but communism in the Soviet Union and in Yugoslavia was used for ethnic cleansing, for the purge of the non-Russians and non-Serbian population also through the Balkans. This basically is how they ran the country, and with the people, only the people whom they appointed at every police station throughout the Slovenia, absolutely, with thanks to Janša, Peterle, Baučar, Rupel, Pučnik, Franz Bučar, etc., 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 who did absolutely nothing to prevent the continuation of this legacy. Because the first thing that happened is there was no police changes in a transition between the Yugoslavia to Slovenia. This is one thing. And they secured themselves this position through the border crossings where the police had brief altercation with the Yugoslav troops, Slovenian police, where they tried to cut them off the border crossings with the Austria, with the Italy and stuff like this. Thus, securing the police stations, and through the police stations, basically the power. Hospitals, everything that was public remained the same. Basically, they carried the same legacy of the Yugoslavia further with the same people, KGB UDBA people, remain at the positions and make sure also as the directors of the companies that would keep exactly the same people. That's exactly the truth about the Slovenia. As a public official, it is your job, it is your duty, even as a private citizen. You observe the torture, for you to make sure that the person that is being tortured, that you write him an affidavit, that you observed something, so that person, like in my case, which they worked all along to prove that I'm insane. Well, these are the shirts. I asked the lady 2 days ago, we were in the store, I asked her, actually, no, yesterday, I asked her, is it going to be enough to confirm the psychiatric diagnosis from 2012? Because I asked her this because she knew all these psychiatrists, police, etc., etc. That's what they were doing all along. During the torture, during the bestiality they performed on me, especially if I would promise somebody retaliation, they would refer to me as mentally ill person. You're mentally ill. You're mentally ill. And it will follow with, this is not happening. It's not happening. And if it would not be then, in between these torture sessions, when the torture sessions would end, they would remind me that this is not happening, and they would laugh in my face because they wanted me to get out and tell this stuff. As the idea was to just get me killed. Simple as this. You people have no idea how difficult this stuff is through the system. This is not crook system. This is Slovenia. This is, I gave you an idea what it is. The fault for this, however, goes on the hands of Americans, Bill Clinton, George Bush, Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and many other presidents. Let me think about George Bush Sr., Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon. They did not participate in this house. They participated in our older house. They were all involved in it. And what happened was they went on to coordinate the common agenda, political agenda, the common ground with Yugoslav side. Even help them to regain control and enforce through anti-ultra procedure the Yugoslav control of the Slovenia, therefore the continuation, because this is exactly what you do. That's exactly what you do. That's exactly what you accomplish. If you have a normal person and you torture him publicly and you explain people that for involving in a torture, you get the parcel, you get job, you get promotion, you get more money, you get business opportunities, you get, I don't know what you get, travel. You have nothing to worry about because the person is mentally ill. So you got nothing to worry about. And as you go and you throw this money, these discounts, you sell the country, you sell the constitution with ever-growing circle that is increasing. This case was commented in Yugoslavia in 1972 through Josip Broz Tito, Belgrade. What you do is you increase the circle of the people to such a magnitude that you create the resistance inside of the system, with the people actually even fearing about the consequences if the truth would come out of the case. And we're talking about the normal people. You're doing this with bigger and bigger public, not only participating but observing, and absolutely nobody doing anything. So you start to do some kind of terror shaft, state-sponsored terrorism. This is the definition of the state-sponsored terrorism. Schreckenherrschaft, to scare people, scare the shit out of the people. And you're using the politicians like Janša, Peterle, Rupel, Baučar, Igor Baučar, let's say, who was a police officer in previous system known as Yugoslavia, to not even, I'm not going to say to write the affidavit, right, that you observed something like this, and that actually person is not insane, therefore. No. But you're using them actually for them to portray themselves as the criminals, and they gladly do so. Corruption, they get themselves involved in a corruption. And even start to claim that there is injustice in the system when they throw you in a psychiatric hospital like they did to me in 2012. Janez Janša went on to pose as a victim, as a Christ in 2012, telling me beforehand, knowing and condemning me on the psychiatric hospitalization before I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital. Before he started to pose as a victim of the so-called leftists and so on. This is basically the way they do that stuff. So that there will be somebody that would ask him, well, Mr. Janša, but why don't you help him? Why didn't you help him? Why didn't you go? There was some people in Gorenska region around Ljubljana that actually exited this SDS, and they revolted against this Janez Janša for doing this. This was a KGB UDBA boss, this guy Janez Janša, who started in Yugoslavia what was known as processes. Processes means like a fake processes that the state creates against you based on lies and stuff like this. However, what Slovenian police managed to exercise against me, once Slovenia even became independent, greatly shadows and completely destroys any kind of image that Janez Janša created for himself during Yugoslavia, so that Milan Kučan could rule through him in a so-called independent Slovenia. This system is so crooked, this system is so corrupt, that to change things here, you would literally need military intervention to get things going. This is how crooked this system is. This is how crooked they are. Courts, regional here, local court in Novo Mesto, Ljubljana, Supreme, Ustavni court, Supreme Court, and so on. We don't have any kind of courts. We have UDBA, we have a KGB people, we have a psychiatric hospitals that are ran literally by Serbs were involved in a torture inside of the psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana Polje. They went on everything or nothing to get me killed. I was close to this close to death. Released me. Went on since 2012 to sleep, basically with once I stopped eating the psychiatric pills, the pain in my heart, which was a cardiac arrest, a regular cardiac arrest, was 24/7, stopped the pain, as it was the whole body was ready to simply explode, because the body organs, internal organs, were ready to quit on me. Just as I explained to you, Robert Golob in 2008 figured out that in 2008 that they're gonna have to do something about about my health. That's gonna be something that's gonna have to be done about my health, heart-wise, meaning that my heart should have been still good in 2008. That was upon my second departure from this Slovenia to United States of America. And sometimes in 2010, he figured out that he started to brainwash. Actually in 2008, 2009, and 2010, and 2011, he all talk about that they're going to have to do something about my heart. That's still going to have to be something done about my heart. That heart is going to be, that what's necessary is peacemaker, that kind of stuff. That still is a danger. Yeah, he was so sarcastic. Basically, in 2008, therefore, my heart already had a trouble. He was so sarcastic about this stuff, that sadistic, that he suggested the necessary something that they have to figure out about the peacemaker, that kind of stuff, about the heart surgery, about how that stuff is going to be done. And once the 2010 came, he started to claim that that they're working on it, but they're pretty sure that stuff is not going to have to be worried about. And when I was thrown to the psychiatric hospital, Ljubljana Polje, in 2012, actually already in 2011, he claimed that my heart is going to give up, they're not going to be capable, and so on. They were testing also the psychiatric drugs beforehand, before I was even thrown into the psychiatric hospital, Ljubljana Polje. So that was in 2012. And so they knew exactly the outcome of this stuff, what's going on, what they're going to do with me. Once I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital, basically my heart pretty much gave up on me. It was impossible to sleep to lean myself even on the right side. Even if I would turn as I was lying down, it was impossible. The only way for me to sleep was to turn myself, since the spine was not broken yet to this degree, either on the right side or like this back. No, this is the left side. Sorry if I stated earlier, right side. This is the right side is here. So this is how they did this stuff. And once I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital, all through my niece, Urška, Golob, Veber, and my sister were beasts involved in MK Ultra bestiality performed on me already way before. In 2012, in 2011, Milan Kučan started to tell them that he is about to throw me into psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje. And with Robert Golob came to this house and told them, if you're not going to take care of him, we're going to get him out of the psychiatric hospital. If I already told you this is your time, it's now or never, he told them. If we don't get him now, we'll never will. And that's how my niece, including my sister, that would come occasionally, they kept me there for days. It wasn't for a day, but they kept me there for days. And I know so because my sister was so sadistic that would come to see me on Sunday. That means they had me maybe even 2 weeks at a time locked inside of the room, which I demonstrated to you, and not once at the graveyard. So the police have some explaining to do in respect to this stuff. Let's just finish this in a civilized way. We're going to do it this way. Did I miss anything about the graveyard, about the stuff? No, right now I understand that I recall that they had me even 2 weeks. They had me many, many, many weeks locked inside of that room. Igor Juršić was the one who enforced that stuff. It was so bad that they would do this especially in the summertime and in the wintertime. It was so bad that I figured out, thanks to my sister, that because this stuff was happening, that she comes to visit me on a Sundays. So this is beyond shit, beyond sickening stuff. I'm not surprised that she passed away. I'm not surprised that she passed away. That's my sister, the one that pushed my father, my mother, the neighbors, the main engine behind, together with the niece, that on my parents to throw me into psychiatric hospital to fabricate the stuff for the state prosecutor, for the police. This is the way they did this stuff. So the whole thing is revealed entirely about what took place here in this case. The first song that was dedicated when they pulled the Father is Cremation out of the room, to me, the song, because the guys that sing the song supposedly were involved, which makes things very, very difficult for me. But it tells me that the stuff that I speak to you about right now have started to take place actively already sometimes in 2003. We started to rehearse the funeral of the father already in 2003, and I know so because there were certain guys from this singing orchestra that came, this basically singers that came. They were obese, fat. They are using different orchestras. They had to be also participating in the torture. And they replaced them with the younger, better looking, that kind of stuff. And the must dress code was a black glasses, and total brainwash took place over the course of the years that when they're going to dedicate this song to the father, they would be looking at me with his black glasses. Song is about they threw me into the earth, and they threw me into the earth, and that's exactly what three guys with their black glasses, I cannot say that that's exactly what they were doing, but based on MK Ultra brainwash, I was obligated basically to see it that way. They all looked at me with their black glasses in that sense. I heard from them, we are all going to be looking at you. This same orchestra today was involved since 2011 for sure, 2012, to put it this way. Actually, like since 2010, since 2009, before they even started to sing the songs, this young man that were there today, they were collecting them because they were trying to impress American girl that was interested in me with it. They observed these babes from the US, that kind of stuff abroad, that they were interested in me. And what they wanted to do is, and they did, because people from abroad actually got opportunity to see this. I'm not going to say what. Ritual. I don't know what to tell you. This is basically dedicated to the father, throw you into, they threw me, presenting him like just a Slovenian national song. I yet have to go through to the audio recordings. It's all been audio recorded, this stuff. And I got people who reminded me about MK Ultra, visitors. And I got people that I handshaked with, I saluted with, who Serbs, literally, also, who came basically to say goodbye to the father because it was a long time their co-workers. And well, some people believe that they're going to make a scene today with me and stuff like this. And what I did was instead I handshake with absolutely everybody, and I thanked everybody. Majority of the people was okay. They were not even the same people, all of them. They would be using during different funeral sessions. But yeah, this is basically the way this stuff was done. So this was the funeral of my father. I do not consider my father as I consider my father as dead. Yes, I do. However, based on the brainwash and contrary to demands of Janez Ogulin, who was involved in this in our room, who told me, if you will record, if you will recall this stuff and you put this on the internet or whatever, I already recorded hours and hours of memories of brainwash that pertains to still father being alive, and I hope I get my father back alive. This is not okay. This can't be okay for my father. That is basically they put the picture for which they told me, if you're going to say this, it's going to be a picture of Milosevic and very similar facial stuff, and outside of this, they position his song like the way they misinterpreted, which was a specialty of the psychiatrist Petar Kapš. Let's not forget this lunatic here from Novo Mesto with the, I say it doesn't matter if he had a private psychiatry, whatever office. He had a lot of time to do this crazy stuff. Interpreting that the first time we dedicated to me how they threw him into the ground. It was all kinds of paranoia that went on, which was classic for the police. They insisted the cameras are going to be placed at the top of the church and all that kind of stuff. Listen, once Slovenia became independent, it was enormous paranoia that was exercised inside of that lobby area, inside of that room where police officers now sit with the reception desk. And they all insisted there is cameras looking at you when you come every time when you come to the reception desk. And it was a guy involved in this from police station Novo Mesto, Mr. Rosman, who participated in this stuff, heavily so. And they make sure they video recorded themselves, all of them, entire crew, also telling me when it was all over that if I will say that there are cameras in there, that it's going to be a paranoia. But the idea about the cameras goes back to when this building might have not even existed. They claim also for the police station, for the main entrance for the lobby area, that building barely was built in, the entrance area barely was built in, 1990 or something like this. No, that's not true. This police station was built part by part, and just as I explained you, in 1988 in that lobby, for sure, that was second grade of my high school. The Serbs were there, and the second one who came at this police station with me was none other than Milan Kučan. Just like this. This is Slovenia. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is how they prove people being mentally ill, I guess. I gladly take my risk. The people that were gathering inside of this home, inside of this house, it was a small thing to do, what I suggested you for the shirts, and provide local police the items through which they would claim they did not exist back then. They still had to be made. Yeah. Have you ever heard about the word samples? We had a big arguments about these sweaters, and all of them are still like new because I don't wear them. Tremendous arguments with the police. This girl also was involved in it. Tremendous arguments in 2011 because they give me exactly the same sweaters that I have today, that I purchased about, 2 months ago or something like that, in 2026 on a special price for €5. or whatever, €6, €7, whatever it was. Mother purchased me. I had nothing to wear. It's now that I was all fucked up with the clothing. Now I purchased a big purchase of this clothing from this store. And it was exactly the clothing that they were using, they gave me in 2011. But in 2011, I was really smart. They loaded me with a backpack I had to carry. Yeah, they forced me to carry heavy backpacks with the computers inside. The computer that I have, they had one more computer that was much more molded than this one. And they were cleaning one with I believe, with cider, with cider, vinegar, so much that they destroyed the keyboard, they destroyed the plastic. It was fucked up. That was a computer that was used as an experiment to see how much I would even afford myself to clean this computer before it would suffer a damage. They told me, you will not be able to do this. This is why, for the first time, I cleaned this computer with a cider and stuff like this. I did it just maybe, I don't know, a week ago or something like this. And they managed for me to put the plastic bags on the monitors so that mold would not spread on the keyboard and stuff like this on a monitor, on the LCD screen. This is fucking crazy. In 2011, I put inside here a bottle of the water, and they did not notice. And I was walking around also with the bottle of the water the same way like I was walking when I came back from Poland with a heavy backpack. This is how they run MK Ultra. And do you know what happened? These sweaters became destroyed because if you stretch them, they don't go back. These sweaters. This is a mistake from these sweaters that is like this. That's why I also know that I was wearing exactly this kind of sweaters. For today, Janez Ogulin told me you're going to have to be actually even careful by selecting the right sweater. And it was, God knows how old Božičnik was back then, that was lodging with a Zajšek, with Uršič, with the whole pack of these police officers, investigators who met me later at the police station, inside of our living room area, and they were doing exactly the stuff I am doing, exactly the stuff I'm doing. How they did this? Yes, they did this through the mold, through the moths they started to plant inside of my room. This is how they get you moved from one room to another. This was exactly the program. And yes, in my room, this tapison and stuff like this is just something that is not really really livable. Needs to be replaced with with not with a carpet, but with the stuff that you can clean, basically, right? So that you can put some disinfectant, something, and just wipe the floor and that kind of stuff, right? So this is basically how they ran this crime. This is how they ran this crime. This is just simply unprecedented. And exactly based on tuck. Now you know how it is with the see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing in Slovenia. Yes, when you make such a big circle and you keep the same people in the leading positions and you demonstrate people with terror like this without absolutely anybody coming forward, writing an affidavit, using a top politicians that supposedly are the opponents. Mladina was the one that promoted Janez Janša. When you do this kind of stuff, and Lojze Peterle and so on, when you do this kind of stuff, when you do things like this, the nation is kaput. And when you bring on the picture even American presidents and German politicians, and they watch this kind of stuff going on and nothing is happening, and then you already know that there is some kind of agreement between some countries that is being done. Nothing in this case, upon Slovenian independence in 91, is being done, in my case, for over 35 years. And Janez Janša even makes sure that when compared to Yugoslavia about the stuff that went on, using me, he demonstrated Slovenia was 100 times worse than that. proclaimed himself as a Christ, as an innocent man, as a victim of the persecution, and was explaining to the Prince Charles, now King Charles, about blah 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 about process in Yugoslavia and blah 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 blah. And apparently it was great. It was good. That's Slovenia. Just so that you know what Slovenia is. I told Denise's husband, no, I said this is my father's car. I corrected him when he said that this is Boštjani's car. He said, something else. I will not give it to you. The rest is mine. And even the car, he said, I will give it to you just for a short term. That he had in his mind with the police together, a psychiatrization, which they still hope they're going to get right. Let's see what's going to happen. I am certain that my father is still alive. I'm certain that my father is still alive. I'm pretty sure that my father is still alive. And however, am obligated to consider this whole thing as a homicide, as a murder, because of stuff that went on, this kind of stuff that went on, which Milan Kučan, even at certain point in time, misinterpreted, lied, video recorded himself with the Robert Golob on the camera, that they will be doing this kind of stuff to make things easier on me, knowing how much I love my father. These are bastards. This is something else. Yeah. I acknowledge this as a murder, assassination of my father. That's one thing. And the second thing is, I want my father back alive, because I do believe, based on the brainwash, that my father still is alive. They even suggested that father alone suggested that he would be watching me, and if nothing is going to be happening, that he's going to tell them to just cut off and let him go. That it will be dependent on me once he is buried on how things are going to be developing. That I was told, and then the police, that these statements are going to kill him. They loaded with the stuff that this kind of statements are going to kill him. The uncertainty is not killing me, because I want my father back, absolutely, and will work in the direction to prove. Well, actually, this stuff is already proven. I could not make this stuff like this, crazy stuff like this up. But they were telling me, teaching me, just as I explained you, sometimes in 2010, 2009, 2008, Janez Ogulin with Igor Jušić insisted that I have to put the camera into where the cremation is, so that I would record the people that were coming to pay ultimate respect to my father. I mean, this is not sick shit. And then doing the same thing through the graveyard, searching with me good locations where I could hide the camera and stuff like this. This isn't good. This doesn't tell you something about what the fuck goes on with this Slovenia. My father told me that if I would do something like this, he said, don't kill me. He claimed to me, together with the Milan Kučan, they all claimed me with the police. Don't do to me like this, that I'm going to do something like this. They were giving me the procedures on how they're going to save him. Basically, just stop his heart rate for so long, and then basically revive him, and claim me that father stated, if I'm going to do something like this for you, that don't make me do that. They're going to do abduction, he said, on me. That would be the worst thing they would do on me. I believe that father was tutored by the police to allow himself to be buried like this, because he believed that they're going to perform the procedure on him that is going to stop his heart enough for so long We came after 40 minutes and he was still warm. And they would be doing this stuff for so long that they would still have a capacity to revive him. It's not necessary. The physician can call you from the hospital and say, come to pick up the body, or say goodbye to your last goodbye. And just before you come over there, they manage to delay the hard stop to such a degree so that you acknowledge one as dead. There is many trickeries about this stuff. Father was begging me not to tell this about this burial because he doesn't want to be stabbed. He doesn't want to be open alive. You understand that? You convinced my father to allow you basically to do the stuff like this with lies that you're going to save him. And in meanwhile, he probably ended up being killed by Oliver Illich on the table over there in the hospital. Yes, I consider this as a murder. My father alone during MKH was begging me to please not tell this before the funeral. Because if I would tell this before the funeral, the police would go and do that kind of examination. But the man whom I met yesterday at the police station was the one who claimed that something is going to have to be done about it to convince me, to calm me down that father in fact is dead. So this is bestial as much as anything can be. All these police officers were involved in this shit. So now, the way they interpreted this stuff is that they would go and kill him. Simply now, if still alive, they would go and kill him and cremate him. But what kind of police is this? What kind of police station is this? What kind of country the fuck is this? And finally, what kind of people the fuck Slovenes are you? Are you a people? What kind of procedure is this to do stuff like this? What is this? They started to talk about this kind of stuff, taking asides and playing and doing a lunacy. That's why I said I want my father back. You better get him back alive than giving me a news that stuff over there in that jar is actually his. Because I consider this worse than assassination, a murder plot. I was the one, you had me going, sometimes with 2 hours of sleep at home for elderly people, to meet father through the stress that you are causing, through the claims Robert Golob was using the police to stress me that if I will not keep coming to visit the father, I will give him a signal to kill my father. That will be the signal to get me killed. Just for not coming to see him on a regular basis, the home for elderly people, that will be enough. And they implicated in it also exercise and all kinds of stuff. So this is not the stuff that you did. You foremost damaged me. You went on everything or nothing to get me killed. But the second thing you did is you did something extremely unethical. And I believe right now that my father is actually at your mercy, your hostage. Terrorism, I am not complying with. So that's all I wanted to say. This was the burial of my father. I remember, it doesn't matter because this stuff is also audio recorded and stuff like this. It was just too much of this shit. Stop. I gotta stop this, put the audios on the internet because I will follow up through these things. It was just Mount Everest. They created life out of the stuff that I'm talking about. And so that's all I gotta say. This was a burial of the father. I didn't make any kind of scenes. I was handshaking pleasantly, nicely with absolutely everybody. Thank everybody for coming, which was the right way to do. All these people, however, participated in exactly what I stated. They kept coming, seeing these things, knowing all about it, and so be it. I might have expressed crazy a little bit, not okay. A singing octet, yes, because it's not orchestra and stuff like this. I know. It's just you know, it's been a while. I was in the US and so on. And every person was involved in it. Every person have already seen this thing, especially the guy who provided the burial today. They suggested, I told my mom that they are going to arrest us at the funeral. Yeah, the Janez Ogulin and Igor Juršić and psychiatrist Petar Kapš, together with the Kučan, Golob insisted that they are going to arrest me already at the burial of the father. I told this my mom, both of us, and yesterday when I went with my mom to this store where I bought this beautiful jacket, not bought it, but it was 50% off, and I found that jacket. And mom kept asking me if I can help her find something, and I found her something nice. I was not in a mode for shopping for myself. I was even told by the psychiatrist Petar Kapš in this Mana store that I shouldn't be in any kind of good mode in this and that. You see, the thing is that when you do life, when you do your stuff, it's stuff that cannot shake you just so easily. Because when you try to help somebody at whatever costs you can, like I did for my father, I did absolutely everything possible to get him, to save him. You're not so stricken, because I was begging him over there for 4 years to help me to get him out of there as fast as possible. Out of that home for elderly hall, I was doing everything possible to get him home. I said, please, Dad, I was giving him A, B, C, everything I was describing. I didn't put this stuff on the internet. I was telling him, say something I can get you, just say something, that, you don't have to say, you can make one sentence, 2 sentences so that I can press the charges against the police. And it was just based on MK Ultra, It did absolutely not shaken me as if I would consider him really as dead. Absolutely did not. At times it was difficult because of the memories when I came to him. The police compared his body with a chicken. They attached the plates, the tags about his death, exactly based on MK Ultra scenario. Pneumonia, cardiac arrest. Exactly copy-paste, basically, with Oliver Illich, actually physician, explained to me that he will do this stuff to remind me that I'm not going to have to worry about this in English. What the fuck is that? What the fuck that's supposed to mean, man? They were bringing me to the dead father during MK Ultra inside of this room. And I was supposed to consider this man as dead. And then threats that they're going to open him when he's still going to be alive before they would do the cremation and stuff like this. What kind of bullshit is this? Milan Kučan was the one, and I have all audio recorded, which is going to go on the internet. I was talking to myself as I was writing the complaint to the police station. I couldn't concentrate because of this shit and really see the whole thing. He was the one who extorted me. Milan Kučan was the one who extorted me with my father's life. He was the one who demanded this stuff is already recorded, everything. Already on the hard drive, everything documented. Was the first one who extorted me, demanded from me before the truth comes out. If you will not allow for us to disappear, to file the fake death certificates, we will have your father and we will kill him. This is the way it was. He demanded from me even to communicate with him with the signals, with the people that would give me a signs that father is still alive and stuff like this. This is Milan Kučan, the Robert Golob. This is how they demanded from me to be silent about this stuff. So you're gonna tell me that you're gonna go and you're gonna do abduction on the father that is alive, having father begging me not to do that before official cremation state, and the guy with the beard that I met at the police station yesterday who claimed that he will have to do something about that and absolutely kill one, cremate one, if he said this is You explain to me, they talk about this issue, and it was people that consider this to be totally insane, the neighbors here and stuff like this, and but there was not a living soul that would come and say, hey, you know, basically save my father's life and basically save my life. They procrastinated me, just as I explained you, heart-wise, a lot of problems, and it's other problems they spoke about and so on. So this is just the two men that spoke to me about the heart today. They were coming inside of our house. I'm not going to even get into this stuff, okay? So pretty much this is the way it is. When you have a tremendous lack of sleep and that accumulates in you, it's probably impossible to avoid the stuff that I did spoke about. So, yeah. The first mistake you're going to make is by choosing the wrong shirt. Not a shirt, but the sweater. Let's do the sweater. This is basically what I wear today. And I don't even know what it means. I don't know what I am exactly wearing because I'm not wearing this at all. This is all new, and I'm saving it for maybe some nice girl if she's going to come to visit me or something like that. They said to me, if you will already screw yourself up before you're even going to get to the funeral. And it's a nasty stuff. It's exactly the stuff police demanded from me to acknowledge that a father is a burden, that the father is an obstacle, that he's a hurdle, that he is a trouble, and you get rid of him, you cut him. Investigators did, police officers did. You cut him out, you get rid of him. The things are all much faster without the man that is sick in the family and so on. The fast line in that sense. And the sweater is also like this. But the stuff I'm talking to you about, this stuff is being recorded the same day as the father passed away. Actually, the second day. No, I was too much depressed. But I started to pull the memories out, I think like a second day, about his afterlife. You don't recall this stuff. You don't recall this stuff at all. You don't recall this stuff. That's my cousin right there. And I'm not filming her. She came for a visit. So she was at the funeral, and she is coming, and I hope she's going to sleep here and then safely go tomorrow back home to Ptui. That's where she is from. So basically, would it be normal for me not to see it this way? Would it be normal for me not to see it this way, or would it be normal to see it as in a parenthesis normal people? Let me know. Drop me some comment so that I hear from you. Maybe you can write me affidavit on a YouTube, or Rumble, or FC2, or archive.com.org, and so on. Thank you. This is the shirts that I have, some. And this is what I purchased with Mom. Mom purchased me this about 2 months ago, and there is nothing I could do. I did not bother ever to even look what is written on these sweaters. I didn't care about. It was cheap, and that's what when you don't have the money, that's exactly what you look for. This was like a super reduced by the police, selected literally in the store, the selection. And this one you're not going to use for the funeral. It doesn't have anything written on it. It does have, wait a minute, it's here. Be the best at nothing, fear none, respect others. This was a personal psychiatrist, Peter Kapsch, Janis Ogulin choice. This is the one that I wear, which is apparently even worse than the shirt I was so proud about throughout the funeral to have avoided. Moving faster. This is the one that police insisted on and brainwashed even in front of the Hofer store in Berlin. This one here. Not that they brainwash on this stuff, but this is what they brainwash. This was the agenda. Father is a trouble. Father is a hurdle. Father, you don't want father. You don't want this. You're going to see how much things are going to be faster and this and that. That's what they demanded from me to say, yes, execute him. Then you have this one here. I don't think they ever got anything like this confirmation from me to get him killed. I don't remember that. But if they got, that was simply because I already explained in the video. I'm not going to get into it. Now or never. New York, Freedom City. Your life, your rules. Move. Was involved also in MK Ultra, this one here. They spoke to me, the one is going to be for you and another one is going to be for the father. That one is going to be for me, this one is going to be for me, this one is going to be for me, and that one for the father. It was like this. Psychiatrist cops was talking about with the police officers that, in a parenthesis, police garbage, Slovenian. Garbage, not a police. Your life, your rules? No. Not good and not good. But this year, I managed to avoid. This was the worst. And that one, of course, I could not also wear. You cannot wear this one. You can see what this is. Now or never. Don't think, just do it. Because of the color already, I wouldn't even consider one for the funeral. So, I came to win and nothing impossible. Clothing company development. None of it really represents me, but the price tags, the super reduced price tags, if I still have one, this was basically when compared to the price for free, and these are proofs of MK Ultra, the stuff that if you study that I explained, even about in 2011, when they had me wear this, and I destroyed maybe 2 sweaters by pushing literally. I placed literally a bottle behind like this inside, and what that did was it expanded the material so much that material no longer would shrink. Very easy, you can destroy this if you do that kind of stuff. And the whole sweater then was like too big, and police, as a result of it, because it looked so poor, they had to throw it away. They couldn't do anything about it. So the same stuff. Both of this were involved in it. For this one, actually, Janez Ogulin even claimed that I'm going to screw myself before I even get to the funeral. He guaranteed that. Just like you go and you place the bets on a race, like you go and you make a race bets, basically, and then you see, based on MK Ultra scenario, if he will, based on a brainwash, what's going to happen with the dummy. That's how I feel about this. I have bought, I don't know how many of these shirts. We discussed with the psychiatrist, Peter Kapsch, even this kind of issue, because of the skin problems that started to develop on my chest. You're not supposed to buy this and that and blah, 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 blah. This is ABC. It's complete, everything funeral covered entirely. I'm not moving anywhere. That threatened me. They introduced an MK Ultra girls whom they solicited to see themselves in assisting them. They did not. These girls never did. But when they participated, they started to brainwash me that they are going to be using them to get me to Korea, to Germany, to United States of America, etc., and for me to stay there, or in other countries, and Japan and so on. For me to stay there, because if I ever come back, it's a debt. Or if I stay here, it's going to be nothing. This is what they were driving me around. Igor Juršić, that threatened. And what happened is they went on even to extort these females with this kind of issue. Yeah, this is just incredible. Novo mesto. And this is a jacket that psychiatrists, cops, police insisted they will put out there, which was involved in MK Ultra, because I argued with the lady who was yesterday over there inside of the store during MK Ultra that a little bit longer one is better for the mom because it's also a little bit wider, it's more comfortable. And my mom's health is very bad. They realized during MK Ultra that she has some cysts on the kidneys. I have to yet see that stuff because she was hiding, and I found the report, the medical report, and I have to scan it. That's how it is. She figured out that she's going to be losing weight.
Ne, ni to ta.
Yeah. Tata lepa je. And so they placed this inside of the store to demonstrate, that's what they told me, to demonstrate that I care about the mom. So this here was, my mom is my life to me. I mean, yes, of course I care about my mom. Look, it's brand new. Kad smo tu včeraj kupila? Včeraj smo bila. We were yesterday inside of the store. And so it was 50% off. And this was supposed to be a jacket she was selected by the police for her to wear today on the funeral. Yes, this is the way it works. Yesterday she told me, take me to this store, and she returned something back. She purchased and returned that back. And they told her that they don't give the money back, but that she can change something else. And went ahead, didn't want to buy nothing. She said, go to me, go buy yourself something. And I was not that I was not in the mode for shopping. I had everything. I have my stuff. I don't need stuff no more. She bought me 2 months ago, she spent 40 euros, I think, on clothing. Maybe even 50 euros, I don't know. And this is the clothing, this is the first clothing that I got, the wardrobe basically that I got new. I don't know. Since I have no idea, 10 years ago or something like that. And so she took, talking about the shirts and sweaters, that's what I'm talking about. Something like this. She didn't want to buy anything for her, and she told me during MK Ultra, I will only take if you will find this jacket. And I did find the jacket. I did find this jacket because it was just good looking, beautiful jacket. And I know what kind of, what she likes, what kind of style she has. And so that fell me down. And this was it. Chose this one. It was 50% off. But she also told me during MK Ultra, I will not wear one. Even if you find one, I will not wear one. Because I don't want police to be suspicious about it. This is how it is. Police was the one that enforced all this stuff, just as I explained. She wears similar to this one, but not this one. She wear old one, old jacket. The police officer I was earlier talking about, with whom I also met at the Novo Mesto police station, Jaka Rezel, that is the guy with the beard I was talking about, that when he learned about a possibility, not the possibility, they started to interpret this in completely different light, that they would go and they would investigate, and if necessary, have my father killed. There was a bunch of these investigators that started to claim, threatened, that if I'm going to mention a fake death certificate, it's not fake death certificate. This is hijacking, this is abduction, what I explained in the video. They're going to go and kill him. This is what I published yesterday. This thing here is that I published yesterday. From here on, I am not going to say anything other than whatever I stated in the video. This is the end of the video. I will just slowly scroll down, and what you will do is you're going to use the pause button to watch the rest of the video. So you can use the pause button at this point at any time. You're not going to hear me talking anymore, but that's exactly what and how this video ends.